Spell both names, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Bernardo Dejesus. My first name is spelled Bernardo. Last name is spelled Dejesus.
And where are you employed, sir?
The city of Tampa.
Okay, and what do you do with the city of Tampa?
I'm a police officer for the street anti-crime unit as well as the bomb squad.
Okay, so you have two separate duties.
Yes, sir.
What is your rank?
I'm a master police officer.
Okay. Officer DeJesus, how long have you worked total time with the Tampa Police Department?
I just hit my 11-year anniversary with the Tampa Police Department.
Okay. Do you have prior law enforcement experience before that agency?
Yes, sir.
And where did you work prior to that?
I worked approximately 2.5 years with the City of Temple Terrace Police Department.
So I want to start with, was that your first experience in law enforcement?
Temple Terrace was, yes, sir.
Okay. And so Temple Terrace is an agency adjoining the City of Tampa. Their jurisdictions lay next to each other?
Yes, sir. It borders the City of Tampa to the east in Hillsborough County.
Okay. And so Temple Terrace actually is not too far from the crime scene in this case, correct?
No, it's probably approximately 10 to 15 blocks.
When prior to working for Temple Terrace Police Department, did you attend a police academy?
I did, yes, sir.
And how long was that a police academy?
Approximately 6 to 7 months.
Okay. In that police academy, was there a component that dealt with firearms training?
Yes, sir.
How long was that component? Was that something that was consistent throughout the academy, or was there a designated time period?
There was a designated time period where the bulk of it happened, but I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, it was quite some time ago, that we did go back to the range several times.
Okay. And were you trained on the use of handguns and certain long guns?
Yes, sir.
The long guns that you were trained on, did that include AR platform rifles?
Yes, sir.
Prior to working at Temple Terrace, did you have experience with AR platform rifles?
They're military variant, yes, sir.
Okay. And were you in the military?
I was.
In what branch?
I served in the Marine Corps.
Okay. How long were you in the Marine Corps?
I'm assuming you're attempting to lay a predicate.
I am, Your Honor.
Opinion of his regarding AR-15s?
Yes,
the
Your
AR
Honor.
platform? Okay, overrule, go ahead.
May you please repeat the question, sir?
Yes. How long were you in the Marine Corps?
4 years, sir.
So a single enlistment?
Yes, sir.
In the Marine Corps, did you receive training in certain small arms weapons platforms?
I did, yes, sir.
Did that include the M4 or CAR-15 and the M16?
Yes, sir.
Are those both AR platforms
Yes, sir.
or AR-style platforms?
They are.
And are both of those, at least as far as the military, chambered in 5.56?
Yes, sir.
Did you deploy in the Marine Corps?
Yes, sir, twice.
And did you utilize those weapons in combat in the Marine Corps?
Yes, sir.
And where was that?
I served on a PSD team in Iraq from 2008 until 2009, and then I served as a machine gunner in Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010.
Okay. When you worked for the city of Temple Terrace, were you certified under state of Florida guidelines as a law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
And to maintain that certification, did that require that you go through annual qualifications on firearms?
Yes, sir.
When you were with the city of Temple Terrace, did you qualify with a pistol?
Yes, sir.
And did you qualify with a long gun?
I did.
And which long gun did you qualify on?
With an AR-15.
And was that chambered in 5.56?
Yes, sir.
When you were with the city of Temple Terrace, did you carry an issued sidearm?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what type of firearm was that?
It was a Glock 22.
Okay, so that is a Glock manufactured handgun.
Yes, sir.
Since you have worked with the city of Tampa, have you carried a sidearm, whether it's issued or personally owned?
Yes, sir.
And what type of sidearm have you carried with the city of Tampa?
My initial firearm that was issued was a Smith & Wesson M&P chambered in .40 caliber. My second firearm was a 6-hour P320, and then I carry a Glock 47. Yes, Glock 47 chambered in 9mm.
Okay. And how many years have you carried the Glock pistol?
I would say at least 5 years.
All right. Now I want to back up. Outside of the Marine Corps and your law enforcement experience, do you have other experience in your personal life dealing with Glock firearms and AR AR-style rifles or platforms?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury about that experience?
My other experience with firearms is competitive shooting.
Okay, and would that include USPSA competitions?
Yes, sir.
Would you consider yourself to be a firearms enthusiast?
Yes, sir.
Pursuant to your competitions in your personal life, do you train?
Yes, sir.
And is that frequent?
As frequent as I can, sir, yes.
Okay. And is that something that you have to do to stay competitive in those types of competitions?
I would argue competitive and proficient for my job.
And do you also compete in, stay proficient in those competitions because that translates, like you just said, to being proficient as far as a police officer with your handgun?
Yes, sir.
Have you paid for and attended personally, paid out of your pocket, paid for firearms classes?
Yes, sir.
And have that included training where you're working with high-level, national-level handgun competitors?
Yes, sir.
Annually, how many rounds do you fire through Glock platforms?
I would say at least 10,000 rounds.
And have you maintained that rate of use of a Glock firearm over the last several years?
Yes, sir.
Do you maintain familiarity with the firearms community and the firearms industry?
To the best of my ability, yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the AR platform and its common chamberings?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with, you've talked about the 5.56 round, are you familiar with the 300 blackout round?
I am.
Is that a common chambering in in an AR-15 platform?
Not as common as 5.56, but it is a semi-common chambering.
Okay. Are you familiar with companies that manufacture components for AR-15 rifles, such as Magpul?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with Sig Sauer, which is another firearms manufacturer?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the companies that manufacture ammunition, such as Remington and Federal?
Yes, all the main ones, I am.
Okay. Are you familiar with a type of handgun ammunition known as Max Tech?
I am.
And the Max Tech chamberings in 9mm, is that a common range ammo?
Yes, it is.
Are you familiar with the term as it's utilized when attending range sessions or training with firearms, the term brass?
Yes.
What does that mean in that context?
Brass is a common usage term for the material or for the casing of a bullet or a projectile. It's not always brass like the actual material. Sometimes it's aluminum or steel, but it's referred to as brass, which is the casing that holds the gunpowder and the projectile.
Okay. So just as an example, when you attend firearms training through the Tampa Police Department, and there's a range not too far from here, correct?
Yes, sir. It's on 34th Street.
And that's maintained by the city of Tampa?
Yes.
When you attend firearms training there, and they may now have some type of machine that does this, but are you typically ordered to either police your brass or pick it up
Yes.
to clean up the range? And that means the expended shell casings when you're firing your handgun.
Yes, for semi-auto handguns, yes.
Semi-automatic handguns, is the AR-15 commonly a semi-automatic rifle?
It is.
And does it expel a shell casing when it fires?
Yes.
Same with a Glock pistol, a 9mm Glock pistol?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with an item known as a brass catcher?
Yes, I am.
And what is a brass catcher?
A brass catcher is something that is affixed to the ejection port of a firearm that is used to collect brass prior to it hitting the ground.
Okay. So are there brass catchers that are manufactured and produced for attachment to an AR-style rifle?
Yes.
So they're designed to catch the casings as they're coming out
Yes, sir.
into a mesh-type bag,
Yes.
basically? Okay. Are you familiar with the term Glock switch?
I am.
Okay. And what is a Glock switch?
A Glock switch is an aftermarket piece that can replace the back plate on a Glock pistol, which allows the user to fire it in fully automatic or select fire.
Okay. Now, your familiarity with that, is that something you've become familiar with through your job as a police officer?
Yes, sir.
And also through following the firearms industry?
Yes.
Okay. Now, converting a Glock handgun with a switch to becoming a fully automatic weapon, is that legal?
Not without the proper documentation from the ATF.
Okay. And if you don't have that proper documentation, that is a federal criminal offense, isn't it?
Let's sustain the objection at this point.
Okay. Is that a device that the Glock company endorses for enthusiasts in the United States?
No, Glock has their own version of a fully automatic handgun.
Okay, and that's a regulated handgun?
Yes, sir.
A Class 3 regulated, fully automatic handgun?
Yes, sir. It's a Glock 18.
Okay. So that's not a gun that someone can walk into a gun store and buy without having the proper paperwork that they've obtained through the federal government?
Correct.
I want to call your attention to June 23rd of 2024. What was your assignment at that time in the Tampa Police Department?
I was a member of the District 2 Day Shift Street Anti-Crime Squad.
Okay. And when you were en route to work that day, were you dispatched or asked to respond to a homicide scene?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did another officer from your unit also respond?
Yes,
And is his last name also Dejesus?
it is.
Any relationship?
None.
And what's his first name?
Patrick.
Okay. So you and Officer Patrick Dejesus respond to this homicide scene. Is that located near the University of South Florida?
Yes, sir. It's to the south on Fowler Avenue.
Is that a hotel complex at McKinley and Fowler?
Yes, sir, it is.
Your Honor, I'd move to publish State's Exhibit 1.
Okay?
I'm going to show you this overhead aerial photograph that's in evidence, States 1. Do you recognize what's depicted in the photograph?
I do.
Okay. When you responded, if you can just tell me where you first responded to, and then I will try to point it out on here from your description.
Obviously, there was a lot of there were officers on scene already, so real estate was a little bit limited for parking. We parked our vehicle. If you look at the building that's parallel to the roadway, which is Fowler Avenue, we parked on the grass closest to the roadway in front of that structure.
Would that be this area here?
Roughly, yes, sir.
Okay. And did Officer Patrick Dejesus, did he also park his vehicle there?
Yeah, we rode together.
Oh, you rode together? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize that. All right. When you arrived, did you make contact, first of all, with other officers on that scene?
Yes, sir.
And you indicated there were other officers. Did that include uniformed officers?
Yes, sir.
And did they have control and command of that scene at that point?
Yes, sir.
Was there a crime scene tape either up or being put up?
Yes, sir.
Did you observe a motor vehicle generally in this area here that appeared to have damage to it?
I did, yes, sir. As I documented in my report, I observed a black four-door Dodge Charger in that area.
Okay. And did you get close enough to it to see the damage?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you familiar with that type of damage? Have you seen that before?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of damage was there to that car?
There were bullet shots throughout the front of the vehicle.
Okay. So bullet impacts or projectile impacts?
Yes, sir.
Did you get close enough to the car? Did you go close enough to it to see its contents?
I could see its contents, yes, sir.
All right. Could you see there was a deceased body in the car?
Yes, sir, I could.
And was that brought to your attention by other officers in the scene?
Yes, sir. Prior to my arrival, I was made aware by my supervisor that I was responding to a homicide scene.
Okay. Now, did you end up coming into contact with some civilian witnesses maybe up here in this area?
I did.
And did that include Armani Turner and a young woman with the last name of Randolph
Yes, sir.
and a Robert Howard?
Yes, sir.
And did you briefly speak with them and obtain what is known as pedigree information?
Yes, sir. I spoke very briefly to them. As you said, I got their pedigree information, just trying to assist any way I can, getting names or date of births, addresses, just information where potential witnesses could be contacted later.
Okay. And did you note that they were not from the city of Tampa or the Tampa Bay area?
Yes, sir. I did think it was quite odd that everybody that was still on scene had Jacksonville addresses.
And was it brought to your attention that the deceased person was an individual named Charles Jones,
Yes.
and that he was also from Jacksonville?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you were on scene, did you notate that family members of Mr. Jones arrived on scene?
Eventually.
Okay. How long were you at the scene?
I believe I left the scene probably approximately sometime between 11:30, 12 o'clock maybe.
When you responded there with Officer Patrick Dejesus, was that at the request of your supervisor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were you requested to respond there for? Why were you going there?
So our responsibilities were just to assist patrol in any way we could. Night shift obviously took the call due to the hour that it initially came out. Those units were scheduled to be off shift by that time, so we were to help relieve units, gather information, assist in the investigation any way we could until homicide arrived on scene, and gather pedigree information like I did and try to relay that to kind of help them out.
Okay. And eventually, did homicide detectives and supervisors arrive on scene?
Yes, sir.
Did you make contact with them at some later point?
Yes, sir.
Did that include Detective Sergeant Rachel Cholnick?
Yes, sir, it did.
Are you familiar with Sergeant Cholnick?
I am.
Is she one of the detective sergeants of the homicide unit?
She is.
And as far as you know, are there multiple detectives assigned to the homicide unit?
Yes, sir, there are.
Is this the first homicide scene that you've been to while working at TPD?
No, sir.
In your experience responding to homicide scenes, do usually more than one homicide detective respond?
Yes, sir.
Usually several? Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir. Usually the supervisors and at least 2 detectives.
Did you at some point attempt to establish contact with an agency or a person in Jacksonville?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how did you go about doing that, and what did you do?
I just got on my phone and I Googled Jacksonville Sheriff's Office because I've never worked there, never worked with that agency. Made contact with, I couldn't tell you who the officer was that answered a desk phone or whatever line I was able to get a hold of. Explained my situation and asked if they had anybody in the gang unit or a detective that I could speak with that might have information or intelligence on potential gang members or gang activity.
Okay. Did you end up getting a return call or somehow making contact with a Detective Drabeck from
Yes.
the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir.
And did you speak with him and have a conversation with him?
I did.
After speaking with him, did you relay information you received from him to Detective Sergeant Cholnick and possibly to one of the CID captains?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. CID, what does that stand for?
Criminal Investigative Division.
Did you also pass information along to the City of Tampa Police Department gun unit?
I did, Detective McNamara.
Did you and Officer Patrick Dejesus provide additional assistance by writing preservation letters for Mr. Jones, Charles Jones' Instagram account and other potential involved parties?
Yeah, I was informed by Patrick Dejesus that he would be writing those preservation letters.
Okay. And a preservation letter, what is that and why is it done?
A preservation letter is just a request to a private company or Instagram or organization like a social media account such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now, just requesting that anything that is currently on the feed of a particular handle or name be saved and held in case it's attempted to be deleted.
Okay. And are you asking for that to be held so that at a later time, if probable cause is developed, that a search warrant can be obtained to then send to that company and obtain that information?
Yes, typically they'll give us a time frame in which that can be done in, and if a judge signs a search warrant, if a detective has probable cause, then they can access it.
Okay. either you or Detective Patrick Dejesus come across a post from Charles Jones earlier that day or at some prior time on his Instagram account demonstrating or showing him at a club known as Truth 18 here in Tampa.
Yes.
Based on that, did you or the other detective or officer Dejesus or both of you respond to that location?
We did.
All right. And when you went there, were you attempting to obtain something or look for something?
Yes, we were attempting to locate any cameras on the exterior and see if we could watch the video, see if the victim was followed into the parking lot, or if we could see anybody in or around the victim's vehicle after he entered the nightclub.
Okay. When you arrived there, was that business open?
It was not, so we relayed the information of cameras, or potential cameras at the location to my supervisor.
State 67G is in golf. Does this look like, first of all, the car that you saw within the crime scene with the bullet damage?
Yes, sir.
And is that damage shown in that photograph on the windshield and the hood area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. States 31C. This has previously been identified in the evidence as a radio screen on a dashboard of a Nissan Altima, and I'd ask that you look at the areas I'm pointing to. 31D. This has been previously identified as a part of a projectile that was recovered. 31E. Officer, in your experience, and I'm talking about all of your experience you've had in your lifetime with firearms and seeing damage that has been caused to motor vehicles and other objects, when high-powered rifle rounds like 5.56 and 300 blackout, when they pass through an intermediate barrier such as automotive glass, does that or can that, in your experience, have an effect on that projectile as far as the integrity of the bullet?
Objection, relevance, and also not
Overruled, go ahead.
Can you please repeat the question, please?
Yes. When 5.56 or 300 blackout rounds pass through intermediate barriers such as automotive glass or automotive sheet metal, can those barriers have an effect on the integrity of the bullet, the projectile itself?
Yes, sir. Typically, those rounds are jacketed with multiple types of metal, so they're designed to kind of come apart, especially through mediums such as tempered glass, which you find on automotive glass.
So the jacketing is on the exterior of the projectile?
Yes, sir.
And is it not uncommon for the jacketing to separate from the core?
Yes, sir, it is. It is common.
Is the core normally made out of lead?
Typically, yes, sir.
Officer, you've previously seen these photographs?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you understand these are photographs taken during the execution of the search warrant in Jacksonville. You were not present for that, correct?
I was not.
States 53B. States 53C. 53F. Let me ask you about this item here. Do you recognize the item?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that item?
That is what is referred to as a bikini cover for a 6-hour red dot optic.
And does it consist of two rubber cups that sit over the opposite ends of that optic?
Yes, sir, to protect the integrity of the glass when it's not in use.
Okay. And then the straps here are like pieces of rubber, like a rubber band that keep tension so they won't fall off of the optic?
Yes, sir.
And is that for an optic that is commonly mounted on a rifle?
Yes, sir, it is.
And that's produced by the company Sig Sauer, which is a firearms and ammunition manufacturing company, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
53G, is that a close-up of that? Now, the items that were within that sink and that liquid have been removed onto a sheet of paper in this photograph. Do you see markings on these items that indicate to you that these are all related to firearm components or items that go with firearms?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to zoom in on these so you can talk about them. You just talked about an optic cover for a 6-hour optic. This package that says Romeo 5, is the Romeo 5 a optic that is manufactured by 6 Hour?
Yes, sir, it is.
And we can see here on the bottom the S and I of 6 Hour, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Going over here, we see, and I'm going to turn the photo, the beginnings of the word mag, and then there it looks like there's a P. Are you familiar with that commercial sign there for a company?
Yes, sir. That is the insignia for Magpul Industries.
Magpul Industries produces, the majority of which is plastic components that are configured onto AR-15 rifles and also magazines.
Yes, sir.
Does that include magazines for 5.56 and 300 blackout?
Yes, sir.
Does it include magazines for, I think they're called P magazines, for Glock handguns?
Yes, sir. They do manufacture those.
And then States 53-1 is just a close-up of that Romeo packaging. We see here 1 by 20 millimeter. What does that designate?
That designates the aperture size of the optic.
Okay. And then it says side battery. Is that referring to the location of the battery that runs the optic, I guess, or the red dot, electronic red dot?
Yes, sir.
This packaging here that's been torn up, do you recognize what is depicted? And it looks like a schematic.
Yes, sir. That is a chassis system where you can mount a Glock pistol mainly. They do make them for other manufacturers. You can mount it inside of that plastic chassis and turn your handgun into a rifle of sorts.
Okay. Something that gives you 3 points of contact when you're firing the gun?
Yes, sir.
Does that require the firearm to be, basically the slide to be moved up inside of a brace, a plastic brace?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so would this be a photo of the brace without the handgun, and this would be with the handgun inside of it?
Yes, sir.
Up here on the top of this, again, we see PMAG 50, I believe, AR M4. What is that packaging for?
That's a PMAG drum magazine.
For an AR-15 M4 style AR rifle?
Yes, sir.
AR PMags made by Magpul, can they take both 5.56 and 300 blackout?
Yes, sir, they can.
On this Magpul packaging, and we see Magpul here, the full word, we see some writing here. What does all this stand for where my finger is above the barcode?
PMAG is the designation that Magpul has for their magazines. AR, Armalite rifle. M4 is the military designation for an AR pattern rifle. 5.56 by 45 is the caliber in which the magazine can support, and drum is the style of magazine.
Okay. And it says, or it has written on there D60. Is that for drum 60 round?
Yes, sir.
That would be a drum magazine that holds 60 rounds of 5.56 rifle ammunition.
Yes, sir.
And then just one more of the packaging here, Magpul, PMag, and is that basically the same, a package, or cutting from the same package?
It appears so, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, interestingly here we see 5.56 times 45 NATO, and you've already indicated that's a common chambering in an AR-15. 223 Remington. Now, 223 Remington is a separate and different caliber, correct?
Yes, sir.
But can it be fired in a 5.56 rifle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it commonly fired in a 5.56 rifle?
Yes, it is actually just slightly more economical, so it's more common to see that caliber.
Sentinel, this word up here, do you recognize that and this item, this object here?
I do.
What is that?
Sentinel is an economical company that manufactures gun safes.
Is this a gun safe?
It is.
States 54B, is that just another photograph of that?
It appears so.
Does it appear it has a combination electronic lock?
Yes, sir.
States 54D, the inside of the safe. Does that appear to be the inside?
Yes, sir.
And do safes commonly, gun safes like this commonly have built-in holders or holsters for, we see magazines on the bottom, and we see these two handguns.
Yes, sir.
.54F, is this a photo of shelving inside the safe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in this photograph of the interior of the safe, I want to ask you about several of these items. Over here on the left-hand side, what are these items?
As I'm viewing the picture, to the far left looks like a bolt-action or single-action rifle of some sort. As we move to the right, it appears to be, from what I can tell, some sort of pump-action shotgun. And then it looks like you have two AR pattern rifles in varying barrel lengths.
Okay. And this area here, this item, is that a brass catcher?
That is.
And does it appear to be attached to that rifle?
Yes, sir.
Now, up here on this shelf, we see another item here, and I'll zoom in on it. Does this appear to be another brass catcher that is not attached to a firearm?
It does.
This item here, is that the base plate of a rifle magazine,
That is the base plate of a 30-round PMAG.
PMAG, and that's made by Magpul?
Yes, sir.
Down here on the bottom, these two plastic cases, do you recognize those?
Yes, they appear to be Glock gun cases.
Does this appear to be the front of a Glock pistol case?
Yes.
This writing up here, G19GEN4, what does that designator stand for?
That stands for Glock Model 19, Generation 4, which is the fourth iteration of that firearms model.
FXD 5.51B.
That refers to the pull weight of the trigger, so which is 5.5 pounds.
And then 10 round indicates it has 10 round magazines.
Yeah, that means that one is a California or New Jersey compliant firearm.
All right. Those states have 10 round magazine limits.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so magazines or guns sold in those states have to have a 10 round limit.
Yes, sir.
And then is at the top of the case.
Yes, sir.
And I guess this is supposed to be a giant G and then OCK for Glock, or L, I guess.
Yeah, that's the Glock insignia.
Okay. States 54Y is in Yankee. Is this the brass catcher now turned up where it can be seen?
Yes, sir.
All right. And 54Z is in Zebra or Zulu. Is this the inside of the brass catcher?
Yes, sir.
And do there appear to be two shell casings inside of that brass catcher?
Yes, sir.
Do those appear to be pistol shell casings?
They
Pistol
do.
round? Okay.
I do.
And just a close-up of them. B is in Bravo. You may have indicated this earlier, but the brass catcher has like a wire or a steel wire structure to it or framing.
Yes, sir. So it can attach to the rifle.
States 54F, F is in Foxtrot. Now, in that same safe, we can get a better view now. You've indicated you believe that to be a bolt-action rifle. This is a pump-action shotgun. We can see the extended tubular magazine. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then the pumping handle. And then this is an AR style rifle here on the right side. I can rephrase, Joe.
Rephrase.
What type of rifle is this on the right-hand side?
So you have two rifles on the right-hand side to the right of the shotgun. Both appear to be AR platform or pattern rifles.
When you say two, this area here, what is that?
That's the muzzle.
And then down here, Is that another muzzle?
That is another muzzle, yes, sir.
Okay. What is this item?
That is a barrel, muzzle, and handguard of an AR-15 pattern rifle
Okay.
with a brass catcher over it.
What is this on top of the rifle?
That's what is referred to as a front sight, which is used to assist in aiming.
This item here?
That's referred to as a hand stop.
Okay. Is that an item that is typically produced by Magpul or another manufacturer like Magpul?
Magpuls do make them, but there are a lot of manufacturers who make those.
And is this the brass catcher?
Yes, sir.
States 54HH. What is this item?
That appears to be an AR pistol.
Now, when you say AR pistol, what do you mean by the term pistol?
The National Firearms Act dictates that every civilian, unless they have a proper tax stamp that has a rifle of 16 inches or longer, that rifle doesn't have a 16-inch barrel, so it cannot have a buttstock. So a way around having a tax stamp to the ATF, if you remove the buttstock, it reclassifies the firearm as a pistol.
Okay. So that's the classification by the ATF regulations. Obviously, looking at it, it doesn't look like a handgun,
Correct.
what we would
Correct.
typically call a pistol. But in the firearms industry, that is known as a pistol.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you say it doesn't have a buttstock, what is this item sticking out the back here?
It's referred to as a receiver extension or a buffer tube.
All right. The buffer tube, is that part of the action, the firing action of an AR-15?
Yes, sir. It helps complete the firing action.
And inside of that tube, is there a plunger with a spring that reciprocates when the gun is fired?
Yes, sir. There's
Leading?
Sustained.
Okay. What's inside of the tube?
inside of the tube is what's referred to as a buffer, which comes in several different weights depending on the type of ammunition you're using. There's also a spring to push the buffer back forward and put the bolt back into battery and chamber another round.
And what is this item that's connected here? And we see it loop around and come back up this way.
That's a sling.
What is a sling?
It's used to affix the firearm to a person.
Okay. In this instance, does that sling have 2 points of contact? Or appear to?
It appears that there should be another point of contact up front, but they do make 1 point slings or single point slings.
And using a pistol like this with a sling, how would one go about attaching that to their body?
You just pass your arm or head through the loop end of the sling so the firearm doesn't fall to the ground and you let it go.
So if a person did that, would the firearm hang somewhere on their body, basically?
Yes, it would hang depending on where you put it, to the front or back.
States 54I. Does this appear to be the opposite side of that same gun?
Yes, sir.
Just for those of us who don't already know, what is this area of the gun here?
Well, what you're pointing to, it's the magazine well where the magazine is inserted, and the markings is what is referred to as roll markings on a firearm.
This area below here, it appears to have somewhat of a hollow. Is that where the magazine fits in?
It is.
The trigger?
Yes.
I'm pointing at? Okay. And this would be a grip?
Yes, sir.
What is this object on top of the rifle?
Appears to be an optic of some sort
And what is that utilized for?
for aiming.
54mm. Does that appear to be the same firearm or a different firearm?
That is a different firearm.
And what type of firearm is that?
That is an AR pattern rifle.
And looking at it, can you tell what the length of the barrel is, or approximate the length?
It's either going to be a 14.5 or a 16-inch barrel.
What is this triangular shape up here?
That is referred to as the front sight post.
Okay. And is this, again, the magazine well here?
Yes, sir.
Does this firearm appear to have a brass catcher attached to it? And I can show you the photograph again from 54mm.
We are not looking at the side with the ejection port, but it does not appear to have a brass catcher on it.
Now, you talked about earlier about a butt stock or a stock. Do you see that item in this photograph? What you were talking about?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the prior firearm had a buffer tube extension. Does this have something different attached to it here?
So that firearm as well has a buffer tube extension, but over it is a butt stock.
Okay. Is the firearm extension or the buffer tube extension running on the top of that butt stock?
Yes, sir.
When a person's firing a rifle like this, would this area here at the end of the butt stock commonly contact some part of their body if it's being fired in an upright position?
Yes, sir. It would contact their shoulder.
Peter, on this side of the firearm, and this is still the same firearm we were just talking about, the AR style rifle, this roll mark here indicates CAL multi. What does that stand for?
So with that, typically when a firearm is sold complete by a manufacturer, they will indicate what the rifle is chambered in so the end user doesn't accidentally put the wrong caliber inside the firearm, injuring themselves. But you can purchase a lower receiver stripped, which means that there's no internal parts. You can order those from the manufacturer and kind of build your own rifle or pistol. So they put the roll mark of multi-cal or cal multi, because they don't know what caliber the end user is going to use a small frame AR platform rifle for.
When you talk about lower and upper, what is this round item here?
Just in relevance.
Overall, go ahead.
What you're pointing to refers to the takedown pin, which separates the lower half of the rifle from the upper half of the rifle.
And you can see in this photograph a line that travels along horizontal on the gun and then curves up. From that line up, is that considered the upper?
Yes, it is referred to as an upper receiver.
And does the upper receiver also attach to the barrel and the foregrip?
Yes, sir.
And then the area of the firearm that is below that line, is that the lower?
That is the lower receiver.
And at this point here, does it hinge in some way when it's removed or popped out?
Yes.
Now, this is 54SS, S is in Sierra. You talked about the brass catcher and the ejection port. Do you see the ejection port on this firearm?
I do.
Now on the opposite side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is this the ejection port where I'm pointing?
Yes, sir, it is.
This little rectangular item here, what is that?
That's referred to as an ejection port cover.
Okay. How does that work?
It's just a thin piece of sheet metal that you can flip up and secure it closed to prevent dust or dirt from getting inside the firearm.
States 54V, V is in Victor. What are these items?
Those appear to be magazines
And what are they for?
for an AR pattern rifle.
States 54F. Do you recognize this box and this box over here to the left? And when I say this, it's a green and yellow box that's sitting upright on the right-hand side of the photograph.
Yes, sir, I do.
And what are those boxes?
Those are ammunition manufacturers.
Remington, is that a company that manufactures ammunition?
Yes, sir.
American Eagle, is that a brand that is manufactured, I believe, by Federal?
Yes, sir, it is.
And is this item that is there inside of, is that an ammunition box?
Yes, sir.
States 55M, these items, do they appear to be at the bottom of the ammunition box?
Those appear to be several different calibers of ammunition.
Okay. Do you recognize any of them?
Yeah, I recognize the shotgun ammunition, which are the larger red and blue ones, plastic cased, and then the longer, pointier projectiles appear to be 5.56 or 2.23.
Okay. And this appears to be some type of pistol round, maybe a .357 Magnum or something.
It looks like something that belongs in a revolver.
States 55S, another ammunition box. What's contained in the box?
Those appear to be 5.56 or 223 rounds.
These three items, what are those?
Those are referred to as ammo cans.
It is in Nancy. The photograph shows multiple cartridge cases, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it looks like every so many number, they're facing different directions.
It appears so.
Okay. Do you recognize that type of ammunition?
I do.
And what is it?
That's either 223 or 5.56 ammunition.
And we talked earlier, Officer Dejesus, about Glock manufactured pistols and your familiarity with them. Are there standard loadings here in Florida and states that do not have magazine restrictions as far as the amount of rounds that are in the magazines?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a Glock 19, a Model 19, which we saw in that photograph, what's the standard capacity of that magazine?
15 rounds.
The Glock that you carry on duty, the 47, is that a 17-round magazine?
Yes, sir.
And those two magazines in 9mm double-stack magazine pistols, like the 19 and the 17 and the 45 and I think the 47 model, are those standard loadings for Glock magazines?
Yes, sir.
Does Glock make an extended magazine that holds over 30 rounds in it?
Yes, sir. They manufacture a 33-round magazine.
33 rounds.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you familiar with those magazines?
I am.
Okay. That 33-round magazine, if it's loaded into a Glock 19 or a Glock 17, how does that appear in the gun?
It just appears as a long, like the magazine is fully extended beyond the grip, so it looks like a long stick coming out of the bottom of the grip.
Prior to your involvement in this investigation, specifically your conversation with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, were you aware of the gang activity or any gang wars that were occurring in Duval County?
No, sir.
Have you ever heard of, prior to this investigation, 6 Block or ATK or 1200?
Never.
Had you ever heard of Julio Foolio, that name?
No.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'll tender the witness, Your Honor.